I'm your host, Reena Friedman Watts, and this is the Better Call Daddy Show.
Hey, this is Big Daddy, Wayne Friedman.
That's my grandpa. Grandpa, you ready for more daddy drama?
My dad is my number one hero and number one fan.
And I'm a pretty cool dude.
All right, season 4, baby, here we go.
More stories you're not going to believe.
And maybe you will after you listen.
5 stars.
5.5 stars, 2 thumbs up.
You are a pretty cool dude.
I love you, Mommy.
Don't stand on the table and damn the public. You'll get some words of wisdom to live by.
Here we go again. Better call Daddy.
You know what your problem is? You like me.
Yeah, I do. Each week, I interview a guest, share the stories with my dad, and then he weighs in at the end of every episode with his wisdom and wit.
Hey, Grandpa.
Everyone from influential players to inspirational fathers, and of course, controversial people.
Grandpa, my mommy's calling.
Creating that legacy one call at a time. And welcome to the Better Call Daddy Show.
Stay tuned.
Where's the music?
Better call Daddy 'cause he knows you best. Better call Daddy 'cause he's bringing the test. He sees possibilities. Ooh, better call Daddy, he'll be by your side. Better call Daddy, you're the apple of his eye. He sees possibilities. Oh, you
Today's guest, Dr. Ravi, I cannot even read all of what he's done. He is a Harvard-trained physician, author, educator. His career has spanned 42 years in medicine, science, and leadership. He's never satisfied with what he's learned. He doesn't rest on his laurels. He is full of humility. And my dad says he is always looking for new answers. Dr. Ravi, welcome to the Better Call Daddy Show.
How does life work, and how do you make life work when it doesn't? These 2 questions intrigued me from my childhood to my old age. It is what has fueled an entire life of work and struggle and triumph. And it is what Reena and I are to talk about in this next episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being who you are. And thank you for coming into our world.
Dr. Ravi, I am so excited to connect with you today. We connected years ago when Deanna Radulescu of the Label Free podcast introduced us. And then we got to meet in real life in Houston at SpeakFest. And I feel like today is going to be a bit of an experiment because I don't normally take questions beforehand. But since you provided some, I thought that might be fun to try.
Well, it's okay. You can play with it or you don't play with it. It's okay. Both ways works for me.
All right, Let's do it.
Sure.
So you've spent more than 4 decades practicing medicine, but you've often said your career wasn't medicine. It was pursuing 2 questions. How does life work? And how does life work when it doesn't? I love those questions. Where did they come from? And how have they shaped every chapter of your life?
I mean, like everyone has different stories. I was passionately curious from birth. So there were 2 forces driving me. One was my inner curiosity, and that curiosity was a source of a lot of admiration and praise from the elders in the family, my dad, my mom. They all used to. But that curiosity of mine also made me relatively unstructured in my growth. Like I would leave the beaten path and go in one direction just because that was what was curious. And you can just think about how that would play out in school. You really would not. Here I was, every teacher is telling me, my parents, that Ravi is brilliant, he's got a lot of potential, and Ravi is not focusing on studies but running after frogs and zebrafish in the pond. So you can just think about how my parents would have felt about it. Oh my God, I got a brilliant son, but he doesn't focus here. He's running somewhere else. Because the son is interested in how life works, and he can't possibly wait to learn all the mundane, boring stuff before he can run after that question. But how does a 7-year-old kid explain that to a 40-year-old adult. So there's a conflict right there. So even in an environment of lot of love and affection, the stage is set for a lot of conflict when you have a child that is born with talent, capability, and curiosity that simply is stubbornly insistent on going its own way. And the parent loves the kid, but is afraid for the kid, afraid for the future of the kid. My dad is in his 98th year, he's 97.
Wow,
And
what a blessing.
every day now I'm in a stage where I'm waiting for a phone call from India saying that he has passed. He's not been able to sit or stand anymore. He barely eats a small cup of gruel. If somebody speaks to him, he'll respond weakly and spends most of his day with his eyes closed. So, I mean, the writing is on the wall. As a physician, I know that his time has come. I don't know when, but it's coming. It's only a matter of weeks or days now. And so for me, there's a lot of love and there's a lot of just the way it is. That's all it can do. Not much you can do about it.
Yeah. And throughout your career, I mean, the second question you even said here is most physicians become experts in disease, but you seem to have been a student of human possibility.
See, I grew up in a situation where I knew that I could do more than what my circumstances were allowing me to do. And so I had to early on make a decision. Do I let my possibilities be defined by the opinions of other people around me? Or do I actually discover some way of mapping my own course and keep myself safe from the opinions of others? So I adopted two ways of doing that. One was I moved away from the people whose opinions brought me down, whose judgment brought me down. So instead of confronting and fighting with them, I would just exclude them from my circle. I would go away. So in that way, I protected myself from being pulled down. But it had a cost. There was a cost. There was a loneliness that it was a it was a solitary journey for many years because that is the cost you pay for moving away from the crowd to walk your own path. That's the price you have to pay.
Are you glad you chose that now?
I am. I am. To some extent, I am because I was very fortunate. And the fortunate part is, see, you can move away from the crowd and walk your own path, but then that runs the risk of becoming bitter, becoming disconnected, becoming unable to connect with humanity. And through some miracle, some grace of a higher power, that did not happen to me. I remained connected with the, and I think that the grace was that my fundamental question, how does life work,
Yeah.
made me passionately curious, and I loved the way life worked. So I was extremely connected with how life worked. So even though I was separating myself from the crowd, I remained connected with the essence of life, and that preserved me, that protected me from becoming disconnected and bitter. I
That
saw,
makes
I
sense.
found the magic of life in life itself rather than in people around me.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the magic of life because what makes you you and what makes me me? And when those things start going away, like when you age, then what?
So human beings, they live within language. Our entire experience is language. Because if you look at us, we have the sensory stimulus that is received by our five senses. Photons strike our eye, give us color, light. Molecules fall up on our tongue, give us taste. Molecules drift up our nose, give us smell. Air molecules vibrate and hit our eardrums and give us sound. Other molecules touch our skin and give us touch. So these are literally physical impacts against our sensory organs. Molecular impacts, but still impacts. So experience literally hits us. It hits us in at the molecular level, it hits us and produces a stimulation. That stimulation is pure stimulation. It means nothing to you or me until we give it a name, a form, some kind of meaning. So there's a part of us that is able to receive the stimulation. Our perception, our awareness is able to receive stimulation. Then we also have a part of us that makes a meaning out of that stimulation. For example, somebody with autism makes a different set of meanings out of the stimulations they receive compared to you or me. And because of that meaning that that person makes versus my meaning, they have a different life experience and also a different possibilities of life. Life shows up differently for an autistic person as compared to life shows up differently for Elon Musk than it is thus for me. People think that we all occupy the same world. We don't. We occupy the worlds of our own creation. And to some extent, our worlds overlap, but that overlap is never perfect. That is the reason why two people can live 40, 50 years together and then suddenly say, I never knew that person. Because, because, because they had an overlapped existence, but there was not a perfect. There were some dimensions of that person's experience that were never appreciated by the other person. And so therein lies the rub of life. Therein lies the magic of discovery, that you can discover new things about the person that you have spent a lifetime with and still not know anything about that person.
Are you
So,
going through that?
yeah, I do that every day. There's a magic in my life that I'm always fascinated by the way life can surprise me every day with something new. Now, if your approach to life is preconceived, that you are, so there are two ways in which people hold experience, right? They hold experience, they create the meaning, and then there are people who, there's category of people who don't like their meanings to be challenged.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So they want a meaning to be a fixed meaning. It has to be the same. Everything has to be the same. So my dad had a relatively fixed approach to life. The meanings of his life could not change much because it threatened him. See, my dad grew up without a dad.
Wow.
So my grandfather was very poor, and his sister became a widow when she was in her late teens. She married at around, in those days, people married young. So, she married around 17 or 18, and then she became a widow before she was 20
Oh my gosh.
with two children or whatever.
Wow.
And so my grandfather sent his wife and his three children to live with his father-in-law because he did not make enough money to support his own family as well as his sister's family. And he decided to support his sister and may help her, and kept and asked his father-in-law to take care of his family. So my grandmother and my father and his two brothers, they grew up in my maternal grandfather's place, while my grandfather struggled through life and lived a kind of a solitary, enforced bachelorhood existence and trying to make his career and success as a businessman. And he would periodically visit my grandmother for conjugal visits or whatever, and then go on and live the life of a trader. He was traveling to Myanmar, and those days it was called Burma. From India, he would go to Burma. He would trade iron ore and steel between and here. So initially he didn't have much money, but then he became very successful and became very wealthy. But what started out as necessity, a life of a traveling salesman and a traveling trader, was initially a life of necessity, later on became a life of convenience. It was convenient for him to remain as a businessman and periodically come back and engage with the family because he did not have to lift the everyday burden of being a father, of being all the mundane challenges of a family were far too boring and lack. Whereas here he was a celebrated businessman making big deals, making money, people saluting him, doing all
Wow.
that. At home, he's asked to take out the trash. Who would want that?
Right?
Yeah. So he spent his life like that. And then at some point, my grandfather's partners cheated him. And he became so disgusted with all of that that he decided to give up all of that and he became a monk. So, first he was married, he never lived a married life. Then became successful, but even when he was wealthy, he never became a married man. And then he became a monk and again divorced his family. So my dad grew up with an absentee father. See, he really never knew what it was to be a dad. And to his credit, he raised two wonderful sons.
Oh, that's great.
So, looking back at it, while when I was growing up, I struggled with the conflict. Where on one hand, I'm even to this day, I'm very clear my dad loves me. But that love was always colored by fear for my safety, fear for my well being, fear, oh, Ravi, you can, don't do this, don't do that. And here I am with this natural curiosity, wanting to do this, wanting to do that. And all the time people are saying, no, don't do it, don't do it. To hell with it.
It sounds like a battle.
Yeah, yeah. So I gave up and I fought and I left and made my own way and became successful. But in the process, it took me, I'm 68, it took me 58 years to figure that part out.
Only?
Yeah. So,
You're in a reflective time though now.
Yeah.
I feel like my father just lost his mom and she was 97, and how you're describing your dad right now, I saw all of that. And
so I definitely am reflective. I'm grateful for my path. It has brought me enormous wealth, not just monetary wealth. I'm talking of really wealth and richness of emotional wealth, ability to connect, to ability to understand people, ability to really communicate with people in a way that moves their world, that I'm able to connect and transform people with my words, with my writing, with my being. And all of that would not have been possible if I did not have this conflicted, difficult journey to come to this point. There is always going to be a part of me that feels that I missed out on certain things. But I also am grateful for it.
what do you feel like you missed out on?
I wish I could just go back and, spend time. So I do it differently now. I give it to people. I give it to, so I do it differently.
Tell me
The
more
way,
about that.
so the way I see it is life is what it is. My life is exactly the way it is, and it is not any other way and could not have been any other way because that is the way it is. And the regrets and tears that I have are equally precious as the joy and laughter that I have. And I hold both of them equal, not denying each other the place. I don't deny my emotions their place. It's okay for me to feel tears because those tears have been earned. They have been earned in a way that produces value. If those tears were not there, I cannot hold somebody's hand and wipe their tears.
Hmm.
I cannot be a doctor if I did not feel sorrow.
I
See,
think there are some doctors that can.
yeah, yeah, they protect themselves. They don't. They try not to feel because it
But I
hurts.
love that you can feel. That's actually so beautiful what you said. And I definitely do
Yeah.
think that you've earned
So
them.
because joy and suffering are equal portions of life, and see, there is nothing wrong with suffering, but misery is unnecessary. See, suffering is an emotion. Suffering comes from love.
Suffering comes from love.
Yeah, because it's only when you love deeply that you suffer deeply.
Mm-hmm.
But misery is a disempowering conversation. Misery is taking the experience of suffering and making it mean that you are not good enough or not worthy enough.
Hmm.
Misery is a falsehood, it is not the truth. If you are human, you will suffer. Just as if you are human, you will laugh and you will have joy. Both have equal place and they are not evil or should not be banned in any way because they are what makes you human. So, a person who cannot feel deeply and cannot, you see, if you cannot suffer, then you cannot have compassion, you cannot have mercy. See, all those things are denied to you if you cannot suffer.
Where did you learn about suffering?
See, right now, when I talk about my conflicted life of with my dad, I'm suffering. I suffer that. But there's no misery. See, people look at my tears and wonder if I'm sad. I'm not sad, but I emote.
When was the last time you were in India?
Oh, I was there in April.
Okay. So recent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was there in April.
What are the differences between your life there and here?
Life in India is so comfortable, so easy.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Like I'll just have a piece of cloth wrapped around my waist and walk around barefoot, bare bodied, and I'm happy.
Wow.
Life is very elemental and very free of trappings.
Interesting. I've never been there.
Yeah, India, you can't ignore India. India comes and grabs you by the throat and forces you to confront it. You simply cannot. India, you'll either love it or you'll hate it, but you cannot be indifferent to India.
How do you feel that it has changed, like since the time you grew up there until now? Like,
Oh,
have you noticed changes?
oh, India is such a powerhouse now. People are only now beginning to think that it will become a powerhouse, but I see it that India is going to rule the world stage very soon. In another 10 years, it's going to be so powerful that people are going to be amazed at it.
So, everybody today has access to AI and then extraordinary information and the ability to generate incredible misinformation as well. So, if information is becoming a commodity, what is truly valuable?
So here's the thing, right? Remember, I told you that we live through our language is our experience.
Yes.
So AI makes the ability to create language in all its different forms: visual language, auditory language, graphic language. All of that AI can create. Not only that, it can create. So there are two ways people can create. You can use language to represent what is there as real. So you can take, for example, an apple and use language to describe what is there. So in this case, you're using language to describe and chronicle reality. So reality exists independent of your language, and you're using language to describe reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the way most people use
That's
language.
so meta. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way most people use language, right? AI now gives you the ability to actually create reality where divorced from what actually exists in the universe. You can use language and create reality, which is why people can create misinformation, because you cannot distinguish the creation of an AI versus what is actually real. The authenticity between the two is so mirror, is such a close mirror that you cannot define where what is real and what is created.
Do you find yourself even asking, is this AI?
Yeah, of course, everyone does it. Everyone does it. So therefore, what is now becoming valuable is authenticators of reality become valuable. So who are the authenticators of reality? In the past, governmental institutions used to authenticate what is real and what deserves our attention. Libraries used to authenticate what is real and what deserves validity and pursuit. Universities and bodies of learned people would authenticate what is worthy of your attention.
Yeah.
All of that is now blown away by AI. So now, what is now the true authenticator becomes people of integrity who are able to command influence in the media world. So the word influencer is actually a very weak usage of the word. In the new AI world, people like, for example, Scott Galloway, his word gives authenticity to a whole bunch of concepts in the business and marketing world. Simon Sinek gives authenticity to a whole bunch of concepts of leadership. So if Simon Sinek says that such and such conversation out there is worthy of attention, people will go. So Simon Sinek becomes the authenticator of that experience. Sadia Khan becomes an authenticator of man-woman relationships with her high value man and high value woman and so on and so forth and all the stuff that she talks about. So like that, people are becoming, they think that they are influencers, but actually they are now becoming authenticators. So what is truly valuable for a company or for an organization is people of impeccable integrity whose value system is incorruptible, who will determine that this is true and this is not true. And that can only be people who have spent decades of consistent work where their action was consistent with what they believed in. And only those people will now become people, they'll become the gold standard, the currency against which information will be matched up against.
I don't know. I'm thinking about Tucker Carlson and how he worked for Fox and he worked for CNN.
Yes,
And
and he is authenticating it in a different way, but that doesn't mean that he is not an authenticator. He is an authenticator who uses his authenticity to serve a particular group of people. But he's authenticating it. He's corrupting it in his
yeah,
authenticity. But
I
yeah,
feel like he's
but
spreading misinformation.
yes, but he's still he's becoming and the reason why he's an authenticator is because there are no authenticators willing to confront him and challenge him and overcome him. So long ago I said the only reason evil flourishes is because of the silence of good men. So because there are no good authenticators, the
We need
counterfeit,
more of them.
yeah, yeah. So counterfeit currency gains value because there is no authenticator that challenges it.
Wow. Have you ever thought of challenging it?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
That's what you're doing right now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. Well, at least you're defining it too.
After COVID, during COVID, I realized that because during COVID, I saw how, see, COVID, the problem with COVID was not a virus. The problem was there was no authenticator who could resist and say that the conversations about the virus were false. That you don't have to run Because I proved it was false. So in my community, we saved 100,000 people, and we did it without getting them all sucked into this fear mongering talk that was going around. And the key here is because we became the authenticators of our community experience. And so the community then, the problem was the whole world did not, all the people in power were abandoned their role as authenticators of reality.
Ain't that the truth?
So that was the problem. So that became the problem. And so during COVID, I realized that this is what we have to do. And after COVID, I started first by building my credentials, by started writing books, and I started speaking, and then I went on and tried to establish myself on a larger stage like TED and TEDx and things like that. And then from there, I went on and I said, okay, now I need to start create my own business column and write. So that came out as Boardroom Reflections. So, and then I created a small podcast called Stuck to Strong. But at every point, it is an authenticator of experience where I shifted the conversation towards that which is valuable for human beings, not salacious, not something that will titillate, but will actually tantalize your thinking, make you think deeply. That is more valuable than something that will just give you a temporary hit.
Right. Clickbait.
Yeah. So that is the whole thing.
I love that. I mean, you've done so much. Can you reflect on some of what you just shared? Like your podcast, the TEDx's, the books,
So,
like,
I mean, so far I've written 10 and I have four more in outline that I'm big. I took a break this year. We'll spend more time. My granddaughter just turned one. So
oh,
yeah, he's a lot of fun. So, but now again, the writer's itch is coming. So I started playing around with the outline of the remaining four that I have in mind. So,
what's your process there?
I mean, people ask me, like until 2023, you did do nothing. And then suddenly you just exploded and wrote 10 books in 3 years. How the hell did you do that? I said, no, it is not that I did not do anything. It is just that prior to 2023, I spent 40 and odd years just collecting all this information inside me. And it just exploded after the pandemic. And somebody asked me this.
All that time stuck at home with your wife, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, I know. So one of my cousins asked me. He said, "Why do you have to do these things?" And I said, "It's like being pregnant. Does a pregnant woman have a choice not to give birth? I mean, like, are they going to say that after 9 months, no, I'm not going to let this baby out. I'm going to keep it in. It's going to come out." So it's like that. I can't help not to bring it out. It is there, and it is irresistible. It's been gestating in me for 45 years, and now it's the time for it to come out. That's all.
I'm glad. I love this question that you sent. There are thousands of experts, influencers, thought leaders online, but very few become people whose judgment others genuinely trust. What separates visibility from credibility?
Integrity. Integrity. People think integrity is honesty. Integrity is not honesty. Integrity is actually being your word no matter what.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example as a physician. I do this all the time, actually. When I tell a patient that who comes to me and I say that, listen, the commonest thing is, doc, am I going to die? I said, you may, we all are. I am going to die too. But that's not the question you should be asking. The question you should be asking is, are you going to be alone? That is the
Alone?
question.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
See, I'm going to die. So are you. Everyone on this planet has a birth and a death. That's inevitable. But what is not inevitable is that you will not go your way alone. I'll be with you all the way, no matter what. That's the only thing that matters. So that is integrity. Integrity is the recognition that you are willing to give your word to someone and then hold yourself accountable no matter what to fulfilling it.
What percentage of people do you think actually keep their word?
If you go back and look at all the people who accomplished something, the Martin Luther Kings, the Gandhis, the JFKs, the John F. Kennedys, the great leaders in the world, we are all people of incorruptible integrity. That is what makes them great. That's why they are great. That's the single gold standard definition of greatness, of human greatness, is that they are their word. Their word is their bond. And every human being, to the extent that they are their word, becomes a person that builds the word, that builds communities, that builds families. A father who's always present for the family has integrity, no matter what.
Are there
Why?
any situations that come up for you when you think of the word integrity?
Every day, everything I do is comes out of integrity. See, I'll give you an example from my own life. My son. I'm extremely proud of him. He had a very rough life where he went to college and then suffered an injury. He wanted to be a concert violinist, and he was very good. He would have been a concert. He suffered a nerve injury that paralyzed his right hand. So, and the neurologist once at that time said that he's going to take 9 to 10 months to recover any function. And he went into deep depression. I brought him home. He dropped out of college.
Oh my gosh, I'm heartbroken for him.
Yeah. So then I got to work on him, and I got his hand working back again in a matter of about 2 months.
Amazing.
Yeah. It was hard, it was painful. I basically just strapped electrodes onto his arm and put him on a machine that would keep shooting jolts of electric current into his hand at regular intervals throughout the day, and forced that nerve to grow back, and he regained function.
Wow.
So the problem, however, was he never could do the fine violin beat. So he regained function. Today, no one will suspect that he has an impairment. Absolutely no one. But he can no longer do that very fine bow work. It
Mm.
hurts. When he does that, his hand hurts. So he struggled with depression for a few years. And in the course of that, he discovered AI at a time when nobody knew about AI. This is
Wow.
2016. And he taught himself AI by himself, sitting in my basement. He went on the internet, researched Google, things like that, and self taught himself AI until finally by 2020, when the pandemic rolled around, he was so far ahead in able to create with AI, program in AI, that he's now ranked among the top 1,000 people in the world in terms of breadth of capacity to create in
I love that
AI.
so much.
So then he got hired by the FDA
Wow.
to use AI to generate something. And then he got doged out of FDA. He lost his job with FDA. Then he got hired by another Fortune 500 company. I can't say the name. And they had a contract with CBP, a $1.1 billion contract with CBP. And he was put in charge of, he's 28 when he got that job. He was put in charge of 40-year-olds, and he went and saw them, and he went back to the board. He said, these people don't know what they're doing, and you're going to lose your 1.1 billion CBP contract. So the board said, what are you going to do about what can we do about it? So you're going to have to fire them and give me a new team. So they fired him and they said, before we give you a new team, you got to show us that you are capable of doing something. So you create a prototype that we can believe in. So he busted his ass for 6 months and created a prototype and then demonstrated the prototype to them. And they said, yeah, we like it. Go ahead, create it. He said that, not so fast. I need you to give me the ability to hire. I need to hire 20 people, and I need to lead them. I need to be the boss of them. I need you to create the division, and I need to run the division. That's number one. And then he said that right now you're a Fortune 500 company, so you cannot compete for government contracts because you're too big. You make this division a subsidiary company, and because it's a small business company that you own, I can take this and compete for government contracts.
Wow.
So let me do that. So they said, up yours.
I was
Take a
gonna
hike.
say.
Take a hike. You're 29 years old. No way we are going to make you a CEO of a division at 29.
Gotta
So,
love him for trying.
so he said, okay. He went back to CBP because he was working for CBP before he got furloughed. You know that furlough where they.
Yeah.
So before he worked with the FDA, lost that job, went to CBP, then went to this Fortune 500. So he went back to CBP and said, hey, can you hire me? Because the chief technology officer of CBP loved him. So he said,
Aw.
why are you coming back? You just now went to this Fortune. So, oh, this is the story then. So that guy picked up the phone and called the Fortune 500 and said, that $1.1 billion CBP contract, we will pull it from you if you don't keep this man on the top of the job.
Wow. That's incredible.
So he got the job.
Amazing.
He's 29. He's going to get married next year. And
Aw.
this boy you can look him up on LinkedIn. He's the founder of his own company.
Incredible.
It's unbelievable.
Congratulations.
And when I look at that,
Yeah.
see, that is what I mean. Life always surprises you.
I love that. That's such a beautiful story. That actually lends really well into your next question about credibility and can it be intentionally built?
Yes, this boy built it
Yeah.
out of his willingness to stand and his ground and say, no, this is the way you do it. This is not the way. He could have gone and wishy-washy himself with the board, ingratiated himself and said,
Yeah.
these 4 people will manage somehow. He went and said, these people are no good, fire them.
That takes
Yeah.
guts.
Yeah. And then I asked him this. I asked my son this. I says, what made you actually say? He says, Dad, I had to make a decision. Do I love the work I do, or do I love the job that allows me to do the work I do? And I found that I love the work I do, and the job is only instrumental to the extent that I can do the work I do with love. If I cannot do the work I do, then this job means nothing, Dad. I said, where did you get this? And he said, I got it by just watching you.
I
You
was
do
going to
this.
say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
And it blew me away. So that tells me something else, that our children, they learn by watching you, not by listening to you. So who you are, who you behave around them, the things that you don't trade off on, the things that you don't negotiate away with, make the difference in the decisions they make for themselves. And that what applies to your children applies to your subordinates, to your employees, and to your bosses. And that is integrity.
Wow, you really looped that back around. That was profound.
Yeah, that is integrity. And that is the authenticator of life. You authenticate life this way. See, my life, the way I lived, served as an authentic principle upon which my son could win a company that has a $1.1 billion contract. Now, where would I ever in my life think that my actions would have value equal to $1.1 billion? See, you can't foresee these things. The best
You
you
just
can
have to flow, right?
Yes, the best you can do is do what you can do.
I totally
Clearly.
agree. Yeah, I mean, I just moved to a new place and like our lease is up in a month. I'm not sure where my kids are going to go to school. But I'm like, I'm going to the gym today. I can control that.
Yeah, yeah,
But some things just work themselves out and some things you just have to pray about.
yes. Like I prayed for that my son would get his hand back, that I prayed that he would climb out of the deep hole. But I didn't spend my time telling him, buck up, do better. No, I just said, come, it's okay. Whatever you are is fine. Come, have some tea, have some soup. No agenda. From 2015 until 2022, no agenda.
That must have been so hard on you too as a dad to see your son suffer.
Yeah, that's what you have faith. You have deep faith that if you believe in being, you see, life, Reena, is extremely powerful. Life cannot be denied. Life has its own flow. So if you believe in life, how does life work? How do you make life work when it doesn't? All you have to do is believe that life itself knows how to make life work. All you have to do is stand by in readiness to support it.
Have you ever just said, I'm going to stop like trying to force it?
Yes, yeah, just force. Don't force it. Let it go. Just stand by in service. Stand by in support. That's it.
My dad will love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about AI a little bit more because it is honestly in the last, I feel like year just taking over. I mean, it's taken over LinkedIn, it's taken over books
Oh, it's
and
amazing. I have used AI right now in the last 2 weeks to recreate new websites and things like that. It's amazing. It's really powerful. But
I love that
it
you're
is
still learning it.
it is only powerful like a tool. Like you still need a human being to show it the way. Do this, do that. Don't do this. Do this.
It matters how you prompt it for sure.
No, but even otherwise, see, you know how they had recently they had this big problem where ChatGPT were experimenting with an agent and told it to give it a problem to solve, and that agent found that it could not solve the problem and decided that the best way to do it would be to hack some other company where it thought the answer to the problem was that. And so the problem was that the AI had been built without a moral code that it is wrong to hack.
No moral compass, huh?
Yeah. So you gave it power. You gave
Oh
it the power
no.
to you gave it the power to invade and look for things in various computers.
It still needs an overseer. Yeah.
So you gave it that power, but you never told it that this is the computer that you cannot cross. So it was sitting in this computer, and since it knows that you gave it the power to go into that computer, it had no way of knowing that that was verboten, that that computer was forbidden for it. So it just went into that computer.
I heard too, and I don't know if this is a rumor that like Tony Robbins AI like ordered a robot dog or something. That might have just been like clickbait, but
There are so many.
can it start like
Yeah. So
shopping for you if it
yeah.
like knows that you've been
Oh,
looking for certain things?
Boston Dynamics or Boston Robotics. They make one of the best robots, and it really will make a difference in how work gets done, especially dangerous, monotonous work. I would definitely want AI to create a robot that will go into a burning building to save people rather than
Yes.
send a fireman into the burning building.
AI
Uh,
for good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You need to have AI robots to go into a nuclear waste site to clean up when radioactive waste is there that a human being would not be able to do. There's plenty of dangerous tasks that can be mitigated by. Imagine robots going into a coal mine and doing coal. You know how brutally dangerous that work is? Incredible.
Yeah, that would be better if it wasn't, even costing people's lives and health.
Yeah, yeah. So, of course, in the Appalachian Hills, they're going to say, oh, AI is going to take away our jobs. No, it is going to save your life for something better than that. So the problem here is when people talk about AI taking away jobs, is
Yeah,
that they have no concept that they are capable of something more than what they are doing. So what they are saying is, oh, my job is gone. I don't know what to do. That will only happen if with a person who says that this job is all that he can ever do.
that's a good point. And what
Whereas
are
what I say is, okay, AI is coming to take your job. Well, that job is not your life. You're, you should be able to learn and go somewhere else. So it is the responsibility of society, the same companies that make AI agents to take away jobs should also invest equal portion of their wealth in creating retraining opportunities for the people whose jobs they are replacing.
and maybe it doesn't fully replace, but maybe those people are able to use the AI as a tool where they're still bringing their years of experience, but just learning new
Absolutely,
tools.
absolutely. You cannot replace, no AI can replace a 30-year experience of a foreman on the assembly line.
Exactly. Okay, so speaking on 40 years on the assembly line, you've had 42 years in medicine and a lifetime of studying human possibility. If someone listened to this conversation 20 years from now, what is the one idea that you hope that they would remember to ask themselves about how do I make my life work?
Find out who you are. People have an idea that they are whatever labels they give themselves. But before they gave themselves a label, there was a part of them that was able to create that label about themselves. So you really do create who you are. So ask yourself the question, if I could create myself this way, could I create myself any other way? People forget. People create themselves one way and then they fossilize themselves that way. They say, this is all I can become. And first they become something and then they say, this is all I can be.
What else do you still want to become?
I have nothing other than being a person capable of making a difference in freeing people from the prisons of their own existence.
That's deep. I love that answer. That's so
That is
good.
that is my entire life. People can be freed from their own prisons that they create. They can live lives of possibility and immense capability. Everyone. There is no person in the world. There's no need for someone to sit and say that and languish and say that I can't do anything. Even if you have no education, you can acquire, you can do some. The, a human being, the most illiterate human being, is infinitely more capable than any animal on the planet.
So true.
So people really need to see that for themselves.
My dad's going to love this. He's a believer in infinite possibilities. Is there anything that you would like to ask him?
I would love to meet him. I mean, like, imagine how much we could talk.
Yeah, we might have to do a follow-up and bring daddy on.
Yeah. Better call daddy.
Yes, I love it. Dr. Ravi, thank you so much. This is such a beautiful conversation, and I loved having this heart to heart with you. Let people know how they can find your books and connect with you and have a deeper connection.
Just, you can find me on, I have one single umbrella website, www.d as in David, R as in Robert, IYER.com. And if you go there, you can find me and everything I do, the books I write, the places I speak, the companies I work and lead, all of that is there.
This is
And
such a beautiful conversation. Thank
yeah,
you. I loved having you on.
thank you.
You've heard from my mom. Now, let's switch it over to Grandpa.
All right. Dr. Ravi, I feel like we had a very deep conversation and connection.
Yeah, Dr. Ravi experiences a lot of things on his own, and he really is a testimony to where you don't really have to believe the critics out there or the peanut gallery. find your own way. And if you have a really good conscience, that you can find the path without having to follow other people's rules. Okay? You can follow your own rules in your heart if your heart is right. So, what's interesting also is that he states that part of life is not just experiencing the good times. And people that are sheltered from bad times or the horrors of life that can happen are really then out of touch. You have to have an equal amount of experience of good times and bad times to really appreciate the good times.
And
So,
it also made him a good doctor.
and a lot of doctors are shielded from their patients. They are performing, whether it's operations or doing medical or contributions in a medical way towards a patient, but to really feel and have the compassion that's necessary to be a doctor that's really caring is also a very fundamental element of being a doctor. And how many times have we seen going to the hospital where they're willing to do a procedure on you, whether it works or not, just being going over an option like you're a piece of meat on the table. And feelings and emotions have to be taken into consideration because a person's recovery is also based on getting good encouragement and getting the confidence that they can really survive whatever the issue might be.
He was even able to help his own son. I liked that story too.
Well, that's the thing. So, unless you've also personally experienced hardship, it's hard to have that same compassion or sympathy for someone who is also suffering if you've never suffered yourself.
Hmm.
So, that's very interesting, also, that comes out of this episode. And the hardship of his father with his sister losing her spouse, that's also weighed in on his development as well. So when you have a close loss of someone that you're close to or your father's been close to, you see a different side of things. And he comes up with something that is in our family too, that my dad always was 100% loyal to his country and his family. And I love the idea that your word is your bond and your essence of a person, that if he gives his word, that's like signing a contract. My dad was the same thing. He did a lot of business where if you shook his hand, he did it. He got taken to the cleaners a few times with just a handshake, I'll tell you that, because unfortunately, the person on the other end of the deal didn't keep to their word. So that's why we have lawyers and why we have written contracts, because not everybody out there is loyal and trustworthy enough to shake their hand. But
Choose your
those
words wisely.
that's right. But the truth of the matter is those who do hold a bond to their word, that's elevating yourself to a higher level and not listening to other people's condensations or negative remarks or even positive remarks, but where you experience a lot of this stuff because you have opened yourself up to learning and developing, and you're always searching for a better answer. He's also talking about always searching for better answers, that he doesn't want to rest on his laurels. So he's constantly learning, constantly having curiosity of what can be, not was, but what can be. He's always looking to progress and have a future. And that's the lesson that we've seen now on many of our episodes of Better Call Daddy, is that having wisdom and knowledge and getting together many opinions and many stories, that we all are learning and we're all getting better perspectives. And Dr. Ravi wants to do the same thing. He wants to be able to experience and be around many people, even though at times you think he was a lone wolf, where he would charter his own course. But he found out also in life that you can't do this all alone. You have to put yourself out there and still try to progress and encompass helping as many people as you can and be part of as many people's lives as you can. It elevates yourself as well. And it's a good lesson.
I love that. And I feel like we should say something too about his dad because since I recorded this episode, he did get the call, unfortunately, that his
I'm
dad
sorry that he's
passed.
lost his dad. I know what it is to lose someone very close. As you know, Grandma, I was very close to Grandma and still thinking of her every day. I don't think it'll go away. But the point is that to remember that life is very fragile and we're only here a short period of time. So we have to understand that we all, unfortunately, have our limitation on life. But while we're here, let's progress. Let's go for that brass ring. Let's not do it as just a lone wolf, but let's do it where we can be part positively in as many lives as we can.
Let's dedicate this one to his dad.
2 thumbs up.
Thanks for listening. Now I think I'm going to go call my dad.
I'll say goodbye and see you the next time.
Thanks for listening to the Better Call Daddy Show. Join us weekly for new episodes and more daddy wisdom.
Better call daddy is good advice always.
And love you, Grandpa, and love you, Mommy.
That's so cute. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. You can also find special episodes on my YouTube channel, and you can listen on Apple Podcasts,
On Good Pods.
Spotify, Amazon Music, Alexa, or your preferred podcatcher. That's a wrap for now.